He is the most interesting man in the world.
In your quest for information and entertainment, stay thirsty, my friends. Welcome to the starting lineup.
Welcome back to another Birmingham Racecourse Casino starting lineup. I'm Tony Curry along with Kip Keeper and the legend. We got lots going on this state. You know, there's a little town called Talladega that's now the largest city in the state this weekend because of a big race going on. So we welcome everybody from all 50 states coming into Birmingham and the surrounding areas in Talladega Super Speedway. Of course, we also have the draft weekend going on right now. Something very interesting going on with New England. This Saturday, Mike Vrabel sitting in a tree, K-I-S-S-I-N-G. He is not there for the New England Patriots. I'm going to talk about that on Bone Fragments today. I'm going to get some Mike Vrabel talk a little bit. Kip Perspective, one of my favorite segments of the show every single weekend. What you getting into, man?
Dun, 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 dun. 1 week to the Kentucky Derby. I'm going to give you a few sleepers today, and then we're going to really overload you next week with exactly what to play. We crushed it last year. If you didn't see it, you have a lot less money in your pocket than you should have.
And also going on next weekend is the Regions Tradition, something that...
Oh, that's always a great event.
It's a great event going on, and a man that does not need to have an introduction. He is his own event. The Legend is here to talk about the Legend Cave. What's going on, man?
Well, Tony, today in the Legend Cave, we are going to examine the psychological report on one Greg Byrne. It appears that he has given Kalen DeBoer, I almost called him DeBoer, DeBoer, an extension of $12.5 million a year. It's an insult to plumbers, electricians, to every hardworking man in America. And I will be talking about it in the cave today.
It's a great day for mediocrity.
It really is. Stay tuned. This is the starting lineup.
Step back into the groove and then into the Birmingham Racecourse Casino.
Check this out. It's all happening here.
The Birmingham Racecourse Casino is the local place to win.
Good times right here.
Let the Birmingham Racecourse Casino bring the good times to you. The Birmingham Racecourse Casino, where the good times roll.
Where you could be a winner too. Yeah, boy.
Welcome back to the starting lineup. I'm Tony Curry. This is Bone Fragments. In just a few minutes, I'm going to tell you why the Big Ten is on top of the SEC, and it will be for the next 10 to 15 years. What? Yeah, it's coming up here in just a few minutes. Those picks were laughable. We believe that in order to be successful, you have to make good decisions. I want to lead by example, be the best version of myself. Those three quotes from Mr. Mike Vrabel. I know Mike, not a great friend of mine. I had dinner with the guy. Of course, I loved him with the Tennessee Titans. He comes off a 14-3 season with the New England Patriots. Michael, what in the hell are you doing, man? Mike and Rossini sitting in a tree, K-I-S-S-I-N-G. This is not a good look. He came out and said, listen, obviously some things were said, and soon we were at an adult-only park, of course, and you know the whole story, and those pictures came out through the New York Post. He is going to counseling today. Let me tell you something. If you're an addict, you got something that needs to be fixed right now, I get it. Go right now and get in there. For something like this, where obviously you had some marital distress, some infidelity perhaps with somebody 5 or 6 years ago, and to miss rounds 4, rounds 5, round 6, and round 7 of your football team draft, that's unbelievable. Where are your priorities? You've been married to this woman for over 25 years. You got 2 kids. They can wait one more day. It is a huge round. You got 2 fourth rounders. You got 8 guys being drafted today. Your head coach, Mike Vrabel, needs to be part of the draft. Now listen, I understand you're trying to save your marriage. I know that's bigger than any football game could possibly be, but I also know that you're kissing that little hiney because you want to keep your marriage intact and you probably don't want to be paying any divorce bills. I got news for you, Mike. You got a long way to go. And one of the reasons you got your job and everyone's looking at the other way is because you were 14-3 last year. We'll see if you can pick it up this year. Never too early to talk about college football. The SOS is out. Bill Connolly, who runs SP Plus Analytical Bases on ESPN, has come up with his preseason SOS, strength of schedule. Number 1, Texas. Number 2, Arkansas. Number 3, Oklahoma. Number 4, Ohio State. Number 5, Michigan. Number 6, Northwestern. Number 7, Ole Miss. Number 8, Kentucky. Number 9, Mississippi State. And the Florida Gators rounds out your top 10. That's unbelievable. It's all Big Ten and all SEC when you're talking about strength of schedule. Now I want to tell you why I think the Big Ten is going to go on a run of historical proportions. Right now, they own the college football trophy. I still can't believe the Indiana Hoosiers are the national championship. I can't believe it. And I still can't believe that the football world has also got something going on. Indiana gets it done. Now Michigan's getting it down to basketball. I think they're both going to be owned for quite some time. Here's another list for you. Indiana, number 1. Penn State, number 2. Michigan, number 3. California, number 4. Ohio State, Texas, Purdue, A&M, UC Berkeley, Michigan State, and I will mention on this particular list, Alabama is number 12. That is your top alumni groups in the United States of America. One of the reasons that the landscape of college sports has changed so much is the money. You've heard Legend talking about it all the time, whoever's got the big bucks. And where do you think that money's coming from? It's coming from your alumni associates, coming from your boosters, it's coming from the people that always wanted to spread money. They always wanted to do the $5 handshake. Now they can do it, and they can do it legally. Just to put it in perspective, right now there's 213,000 living alumni from the University of Alabama. 213,000. Indiana, 817,000 living members. Penn State, 803,000, fourfold over Alabama. Michigan, 802,000 living alumni. You've got 4 times as many people with 4 times as many wallets and 4 times as many deep pockets to throw money at their programs so they can continue to be bigger and better and badder. And if you don't think that Petitti knows that and Sankey knows it as well, I'm saying the scales are starting to tip a little bit in the Big Ten's idea. They hadn't won a national championship in basketball in 25 years. I'm betting they could win 4 of the next 5 this year just because they've got the money to spend. Just a little nugget in the back of your brains as we get ready for college football right here on the starting lineup. Those are Bone Fragments.
Welcome, everybody. Kip Perspective time here on the starting lineup. And this time of year, Kipper's Perspective, putting the words in separate columns, is the Kentucky Derby, the Run for the Roses, the most exciting 2 minutes in sports. 1 week from today, they're going to turn them loose, 20 of them, a cavalry charge up the track in Louisville. It is an unbelievable spectacle. If you've never been there, it has to be at the top of your bucket list. You cannot believe, I've seen it in my lifetime, the transformation of Churchill Downs. It is just a palace for racing now. It is absolutely phenomenal, and you need to be part of that if you ever get that opportunity. I know most of you will be tuned in today to watch the race. We've talked about the favorites. We're going to kind of leave them in the background today because clearly Renegade for Todd Pletcher and the Brad Cox double duo of powerhouses, which includes Commandment and Further Ado. Both of these are outstanding as well. That is 3 monsters in this race, and most likely that's where the winner's going to come from. But there are some other names I want you to be aware of, and when they draw here in just a little bit, the post positions for next Saturday's race, it's happening today, we will know what gate horses are coming out of, and there's a lot of bad post positions for a 20-horse race. The inside, surprisingly, the worst place you can draw, particularly the 1 gate, because everybody's quest in a 1.25 mile race for all these horses that have never really been that far before is to save as much ground by establishing inside position. That means right away, if you're in the 1 or 2 position, if you don't get a good start, you are almost certainly going to be squeezed back because everybody's trying to get and push in just a little closer to the rail to save that precious ground. So the 1 and 2 post pretty much eliminates, not completely, because you can still brake sharply and clear all that, but it doesn't really happen. And statistically, it is almost a death sentence for your chances to win. So if one of the big three draws the 1 or 2 post, that's going to really open the door for a couple of these names I'm going to mention. Now, last week on the show, I talked about the Puma. He's going to be probably 6, 7, 8 to 1. This is a horse that won the Tampa Bay Derby and missed in the Florida Derby by like this much. I mean, just a nostril. And the winner of that race was Commandment, who everybody's talking about as the greatest thing since sliced bread. But the Puma lost by this much to the Commandment in the Florida Derby just a couple of weeks ago. Do not discount this little engine that can. The Puma is definitely going to be a factor in this race. Another name to throw out there, Bill Mott, one of the great trainers. He was put in the Hall of Fame in his 50s. He'd already done enough, but he never really concentrated that much on the 3-year-old picture, which is the Kentucky Derby age. You got to be a 3-year-old horse or colt or filly to be able to compete. Mott was more of an expert with older horses because he didn't really train them hard until they got to such a level of maturity that he could capitalize when they're 4, 5, 6 years old. But he's one of the most decorated trainers in history, and he changed his focus a little bit a couple of years ago, started concentrating more on the young horses as he got more and more opportunities for people that had Derby dreams. And last year, he really paid it off when Sovereignty would have won the Triple Crown. They skipped the Preakness for the benefit of the horse. He won the Derby, he won the Belmont, and then he won the Travers. Sovereignty, a monster for Bill Mott last year, finally gave him his first legitimate Derby. He had been awarded a Derby by disqualification of another horse, Maximum Security, when Country House won. But that was the first time he had seen one of his horses cross the wire first. And he might do it again with a sleeper in this race, Chief Wallaby. In that same race I just described, with Commandment and the Puma, Chief Wallaby was a half a length back. The battle for the noses to the wire between those two winners, but Chief Wallaby was right there, and he's being discounted at odds at 15 to 1 as for the morning line. So that's another name. And two really long reaches, the most statistically, historically successful trainer in the game, Steve Asmussen, has won more races than any other trainer in North American history. Guess which race he has never won? The Kentucky Derby. He's got a 30 to 1 long shot in this race, Chip Honcho. And wouldn't that be something? And Chip Honcho won the Gun Runner Stakes at Lone Star, which is kind of a second-tier track. But this is a Steve Asmussen trained, and this is a horse that you never know. Maybe the breakthrough is going to come in a bolt of lightning like that. And another horse I've had my eye on for quite a while is a horse for Cherie DeVoe, Golden Tempo, who won the race down at Fairgrounds and ran third in the Louisiana Derby. That's another sleeper for you. We'll have a complete report next week right here on the starting lineup. On the Derby, it's time for the Run for the Roses.
The Birmingham Racecourse Casino, where a spin could turn dreams into reality. Meet Sammy F., who just won over $70,000. And Orlando P., hitting the jackpot with a whopping $100,000. Feel the thrill of winning and join the dance of champions.
Woo! I'm a winner! I'm a winner! Woo! I'm a winner! I'm a winner! Woo! And you can be a winner too!
Your chance to be the next big winner is here at the Birmingham Racecourse Casino.
Hey, welcome to the Legend Cave, where few men have ever been. I'm talking about Nick Saban. I'm talking about Bear Bryant, but not you, DeBoer. Yes, where few men have ever been. I'm talking Tony Curry, Kip Keeper, Ronnie Van Zant. But hell no, not you, Michael Jackson. You can stay out. Hey, listen to me. I want to talk this week about something that really irritates me. Really irritates me. When a man underperforms on his job and gets a raise. I mean, you're sitting out there this morning, you go to work every week, 40 hours, and the man's always looking over your shoulder. You know, you hate that stuff. You hate having to answer to somebody all the time. 40 hours a week, you got this guy on your back. You making $30,000, $40,000 a year, and if you mess up, you know they'll replace your butt. You know they'll kick you out of that job and give it to somebody else. You don't know it. You've seen it happen. But not at the University of Alabama. At the University of Alabama, Greg Byrne feels like mediocrity's okay. It's all right to be an average coach. It's all right to get beat by Vanderbilt. It's all right to lose to Indiana by 35 points. It's all right to lose 8 games in your first year. It's all right. Serenity now. Serenity now. It's all right. It's all right to do these things. But what's not all right, Greg Byrne, is for you to reward this crap. I mean, if I go to work, I work at Kip Keeper Sports. If I go to Kip Keeper and don't do my job, guess what Kip Keeper going to tell the legend? Get your butt out of here. We find somebody else. That's how they do it in the real world. Now, Kip loves me. He probably wouldn't do that. He'd probably give me a second chance. But hell, that's me. But at Alabama, you can underperform. You can lose 4 games. You just made the playoffs. That's all that matters now. That's all that matters. That's all that matters. Why the hell was those things even up here? I told my agent I didn't want them on the table. Serenity now. Bam! 7 years. $12.5 million. A $70 million buyout! What the hell? What has happened to us? What has happened to us? We've lost our damn mind. That's what's happened to us, ladies and gentlemen. We are rewarding mediocrity. I can't take this crap. Greg Byrne, you actually think I can take 7 years of Kalen DeBoer with his Andy Griffin, Bill Curry self telling me how mediocrity is accepted in Alabama? I'm spitting. Do you expect me to accept that? You better get it right. Greg Byrne came out and made a statement. This guy is going to do the same thing as Nick Saban. That's why we paid him $12.5 million. Man, if I didn't love it, I'd slap it off the table. Remember, it's just a game. Don't be like Greg Burns and the legend. Effing sports insane.
Welcome back to another edition of the Vegas Heaters. I'm Case Kiefer, longtime sports bettor, sports betting writer, and assistant sports editor for Greenspun Media Group, which includes Las Vegas Sun and Las Vegas Weekly. You notice the football is back because we are so back. It's starting to feel like football again. Never any real offseason, but of course, we've got spring games going on across the nation. Not as big of a deal anymore. I don't think there's as much to glean, but of course, mostly this week, I am referring to the NFL draft, where it is big news, especially here in Vegas, with the Raiders having the top overall pick. Hope you guys don't think I'm holding out on you. I remember last year we had a huge NFL draft card on this show, and I didn't talk about it at all going into this year's draft. It's because I like this segment to reflect my reality, and I honestly did not bet a whole lot of draft stuff this year as opposed to last year, which was my busiest year ever. A couple of reasons for that. It's just harder and harder to get down on these sports books, posting less, taking less bets, so it doesn't really make it worth your time. But that's really kind of a secondary reason, or even just a co-reason. To the biggest thing is I just feel like teams have gotten so tight-lipped now. I feel like the NFL, this thing was so obvious for so many years where, really it was just a speed game. You got the information, you try to beat the books, and it was relatively easy to do. I think now the NFL has just really tightened up, and we know who's going number one, obviously, overall to the Raiders. You already know by now, but beyond that, going into the draft this year, we just didn't really know what was going to happen. A lot of different variables. So only 2 bets for me. By the time you're watching this, I will know if I've won those or not. Hopefully they go well. But I didn't want to leave you hanging since, like I said, it feels like it's kind of back in football season now. So going to share some futures. I finally, with the draft being in here, dove into a bunch of futures, dusted off. Usually I'm firing on these futures right after the last season its end. I probably mentioned it earlier this year on this show. Of course, I did look at them, but I didn't fire on anything college football or the NFL right after last season ended. I didn't have a great futures year last year. In fact, probably my worst futures year ever for football since I've been taking this seriously. So maybe needed time to step away, clear my head, but got out some more spreadsheets, got out some stuff I looked at this week and dusted off, and I am ready to go. So I'm going to give you how I'm starting my Super Bowl portfolio and how I'm starting my national championship portfolio. If you've watched the show, you probably won't be surprised with either. I told you, though, mostly feels like an NFL week to me. Let's start with the Super Bowl. There is one team I absolutely love coming up this year, and you'll be surprised if you watched all of last year's. It was a team I was against a lot. It is an AFC West team. It is not the Chiefs, who I still think are going to be a little bit down with Patrick Mahomes coming off that major injury. A lot of other guys getting a lot older. It is not the Raiders, who I think will be more respectable, will be better, but still a few years away from really hoping to get into contention. It's not even going to be the Broncos, who I think really hit their ceiling last year. No doubt in my mind they are in the Super Bowl if Bo Nix doesn't get hurt. I don't think they're winning the Super Bowl, but kind of tragic how that went down. I just don't see that being a year after year. I think they benefited from a lot of good luck. That leaves who? The Chargers. I am so in on the Chargers this year after betting against them a ton the last 2 years and having to eat my words after they made the playoffs. Both those years had good years, but just look at all that went wrong last year. They were starting like a practice squad offensive line. Both their star tackles, who Harbaugh's kind of built the team around, were out. They also were playing with a antiquated offense. Greg Roman, his offense more based like 20 years ago in the NFL. Now they bring in Mike McDaniel, who, despite how things turned out in Miami, one of the best offensive coordinators, one of the best play designers, hands down in the NFL. He could have picked anywhere to go. He wanted to go to Los Angeles to work with Justin Herbert. So I am high on the Chargers. I am a little bit worried about Jesse Minter, of course, the defensive coordinator, leaving, but made kind of another innovative forward-thinking hire for Harbaugh in Chris O'Leary, who was at Western Michigan, of all places, last year. So I think the defense won't have too much of a fall-off. I think the line is going to be so much better. That's how they want to go. So I bet this week going into the draft, Chargers 16-1 to win the Super Bowl, 8-1 to win the AFC. That's where I'm starting my Super Bowl portfolio for the upcoming 26-27 season. And of course, college football on the opposite end of the spectrum. If you watched the show at all last year, you will not be surprised at all who I am picking here. I was a little discouraged at first when the future odds came out, as I really thought this team in past years, the market would be a little bit slower to them. I thought I'd get like a 10 or 12-1. They were a lot lower than that. I saw as low as 6-1 when the odds first came out. However, we've had some shakeup and they've boosted a little bit. I found as high as plus 750. Right now, some places, Texas, the favorite at the top of the board, either Texas or Ohio State. They're both good. I'm worried about them, obviously, but tough schedules. We'll see what happens. I just think the team to beat next year is Notre Dame. There's nothing you're going to convince me that they would not have won the college football playoff this year if they had been in it. I think by the end of the year, they are the best team, and they have almost everyone back. I know that's weird to say when both their running backs could go very high in the draft or have gone very high in the draft by the time you're watching this, but like everyone else is back. Huge returning production number we just frankly don't see in this era of the portal. The schedule is so easy. That's the biggest thing. So much easier than all these other contenders. So basically you lock in plus 750 now. I promise you this is going to age extremely well by the time the playoffs start. All these other teams are probably going to take a loss or two with their schedule. I think Notre Dame just crushes everyone. I think they are on a mission this year. I think plus 750, way too high. The way I like to do my futures is more of a portfolio. So I'm not saying like they're ironclad to win, but plus 750, even though it's not as high as I was hoping, I think we could have gotten past years. I think it is good enough. So those are the two teams to target in the futures market for the big football leagues next year. The Chargers and Notre Dame. Welcome back to football season. At least that's what it feels like for me. Let's see what the other guys are thinking. Thanks for checking out another edition of the Vegas Heaters.
You know, a couple of huge sporting events going on. I love this time of the year. Obviously, I love college football, and I mentioned some of that during Bone Fragments. Of course, we did it in our segments as well. But with the Kentucky Derby coming up, where I lived in Louisville, Kentucky for 3 years, I'm so happy that I lived there, not only because I got better as a radio personality and it gave me the opportunity to come down to Birmingham, but anybody gets a chance to live in Louisville, Kentucky just for 2 or 3 years, what a great town. It is a wonderful town. It's fantastic. And then, of course, we mentioned Talladega Superspeedway is the largest city in the state going on this weekend. But talk a little bit about the Derby, talk about the chow wagons. Did they do the chow wagons back in your day where they would lock off, they would take a parking lot and they put up a big fence, put a band in it, and they play music 24 hours a day for 7 days a week. They're called the chow wagons, man. They used to be huge back in the 80s and early 90s, but it was a good party. And everyone's always asked the question, since we're talking about both, what's better, the infield at the Talladega Superspeedway or the infield at the Kentucky Derby? What you got, Kip?
I've only experienced the infield once. I was 17 years old. I shouldn't even have been allowed to be in there. It was the biggest drunken debacle I've ever been in the middle of. It was unbelievable. You went to the Kentucky Derby, but you never saw a horse. You were in the middle of the...
You saw some people look like horses.
Well, no, by the end of the day, dead horses. They were literally There were literally bodies strewn out on the ground after the end of the proceedings. It was an experience I've never returned. Maybe one of these days I'll go back one more time, but it was the damnedest thing I've ever experienced.
That is fantastic. And a lot of people don't realize the Oaks, that Friday, of course, is just a wonderful day there as well. If you get a chance to go check out that fabulous track, Churchill Downs is just an absolute blue. And the track right down the street, by the way, in Lexington, Keeneland, which is another place I know you've been, is the most beautiful track I've ever seen, period. It's unbelievable. You like the horses a little bit there, don't you, Legend?
No, I'm learning,
Yeah.
I hadn't been to Talladega or the Derby, but.
You've never been to Talladega?
Don't want to go.
My friend, you got to go at least one time.
Yeah, I like my hearing.
You got to put the plugs in the ears. You got to go at least one time. And again, the Talladega Super Speedway has changed so much over the last few years. Listen, you remember when Las Vegas, I guess it was about, 10 years ago, so it was 20 years ago, when they started trying to make families feel welcome? Remember when they started doing the whole family thing? They started building amusement parks, and people are like, what are we doing? I mean, this ain't Las Vegas. This is Sin City. This is what when you own it and you are who you are, then everyone gets what they expect, and that is a great time. And Talladega Super Speedway has really stuck to their guns. They still have all the parties, the Jell-O fighting on the boulevard, the whole 9 yards. It's a lot of fun. I got to take you just a people watch. It's fantastic to watch. It's a lot of fun. But there's no doubt that both those places have really stuck to their guns and who they really are. So it's going to be a monster weekend. And I can't wait to get some big winners. Give me a couple of horses on the top of your head that you're starting to look at already, because I can't wait to your picks.
Well, we'll as I just said in the segment, the big favorites, there's three of them, and it certainly looks like it's going to come from one of the three, Commandment, Further Ado, or Renegade. But the sleepers I gave out today, I'm giving them a hard look, and when they draw the post positions in just a little while this morning, we will know who's in what gate, and it will be time to handicap the race, and we'll have all that for you next week.
It's a lot of horses to be run at the same time, Legend.
Yeah, I'm looking forward. I always call Kip Keeper and say, hey, I got 100. What should I bet it on? And he tells me. So that's the way I bet horse racing, ladies and gentlemen. This man knows that I don't. So I call him, get the info, get paid. That's how you do it.
Go to Birmingham.
Don't let him give you that. He stepped up. I didn't. He stepped up and bet $100 on a horse straight up at Tampa a couple weeks ago and crushed the race while I played a bunch of goofy stuff and got nothing.
There you go. Yeah, it's fantastic. The Birmingham Racecourse and Casino is the perfect place to be checking out all the races. Just a wonderful venue, so check that place out and maybe go down there and see Kip Keefer. Maybe give you some free play. Should be a good time. And, of course, the Regents Tradition Classic. We also mentioned that going on next weekend as well. So lots of great stuff going on here with the starting lineup. We're on every Saturday morning, 10:30, 11 o'clock. Thanks to Jeremy and the entire crew right here on the starting lineup on ABC 3340. God bless. Have a fantastic weekend.
Man, I would take every penny I got. If I was a star athlete today, I would start out at Michigan. I'd go to Ohio State, and I would end up at UCLA, USC, Notre Dame, and finally at Alabama, laughing about all the money I had stole from them other teams. And before I got to my real destination, we cannot blame the player. I heard somebody say yesterday, this is the player's fault. This ain't the player's fault, man.